All right, so I was able to see Lee Cronin's The Mummy a couple days ago, so today we're going to talk about it. Now, this mummy has nothing to do with Brendan Fraser's The Mummy, but that's okay. I think we are going to get a new one with Brendan Fraser and Rachel, but this one is Lee Cronin's version. Now, he directed the newer, I think it came out in 2023, Evil Dead Rise. The new one, Evil Dead Burn, comes out in a couple of months. But if you don't know what The Mummy is, it is about the young girl of a journalist. She disappears into the desert without a trace. Now, she was kidnapped out of her garden. 8 years later, the broken family is shocked to find out that she is still alive. However, what should be a joyful reunion soon turns into a living nightmare as she transforms into something truly terrifying. Now for this video, there will be spoilers, but before we do get started with the positives, as always, my name is Connie, and I like to talk about movies on YouTube. I'm also on Instagram and now on TikTok, if you want to see more short form content. But if you like what you see, if you want to talk about movies with me, then press that subscribe button. That way you can see more of my content. And if you don't, that's okay too. All right, let's start with the positives. I hated this movie. Not in a bad way, but in a good way, because it made me feel all the feelings. And sometimes I like when a movie does that. Sometimes I don't like feeling grossed out, but if you want to feel grossed out, this is the movie for you. It was gross. It was sad. I'm a parent in this movie. It is about parents who lost their daughter. Their daughter was kidnapped. She comes back and she is not the same little girl that she was. And that was just heartbreaking to see. Now, when she does come back, she is a mummy, pretty much. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. But she does not act the same. She does not look the same. And they just want to know. Well, the dad really wants to know, why is she like this? It's very rare that they come back, if children are saved, that they come back like a mummy. I'm going to say 0%. But they made the little girl, who is probably like 17 now in this movie, 18, disgusting. A lot of bodily fluids. It made me want to throw up. A lot of skin breaking, nails, eyeballs, teeth. Surprisingly, not a lot of blood. But the gore was there, and not like bloody gore, just like bodily fluid stuff. Disgusting. But I think it was done, I thought it was well done. Now, the feelings part of it, the story, of course, deals with parents whose daughter was kidnapped, and that was just heartbreaking to see. They think that their daughter is gone, because the chances are that if a child is not returned within 24 hours, that unfortunately it most likely means that they are deceased. Now, sometimes they do come back years or decades later. In this case, it was 8 years later, and she returned not human-like. So that was devastating. And in the beginning, the little girl, she reminded me of my daughter, and it was just so hard at times to watch, because it seemed like a happy family in the beginning. 2 kids, boy, girl. Dad is working at a job that he likes. The mom, same thing. She's pregnant. So it just seems like a happy family. He got a job that he really wanted, and then their daughter gets kidnapped on his watch. So it deals with family tragedy as well as disturbing demon storyline. With that, the acting I thought was really good in this, especially the little kids, the girls in this, all the girls in this, really. I mean, everybody truly was really good in this. It was believable. The parents' grief, their will, they want to fight for their daughter. The mom, she wants to take care of her daughter and forget the past. She is her daughter now. And the dad wants to fight for his daughter. He wants to know what happened to her. He will figure out and get justice for his daughter. The little sister in this, she's all grown up and she's just funny. But she also was truly terrifying in this, because towards the end, the demon also messes with her, and she was really freaky in this. The brother, was terrifying because he's a teenager, but he's also becoming a man, which means that he's gonna be stronger. And he goes up against the mom. That was scary. And, of course, the mummy, Katie. She was phenomenal in this. Not only little Katie, but older Katie. Little Katie was just so heartbreaking. And then the mummy version of her, we could tell that the little girl, Katie, was still inside while this demon literally is taking over her body, has taken over her body. Yeah, so the acting was great. Costume, the set design was phenomenal. The house in New Mexico, because they ended up moving back home. They moved from Cairo, which is desert-like, to New Mexico, which is desert-like also. So you get that mummy Egyptian feel setting without it being overseas again. The New Mexico setting I thought was perfect for this. The house, eerie but beautiful, dark but stunning. Just a great set design. The costume, the mummy was terrifying, worked well, and the practical effects was great. I'll talk about the CGI a little bit later. The CGI was not my favorite. I don't know. I'll get into that later. Another positive is the demonic lore. Eventually we find out why Katie became a mummy. It's because the woman who kidnapped her was Katie's friend's mom, and in order to keep the demon safe, the firstborn has to live in the, I'm forgetting what it's called, but it's like a coffin. The tomb has to get wrapped, and the demon will live inside of there, but it has to be the firstborn. And Katie was the firstborn of her family. The family who kidnapped her has like a curse to make sure that they're good for life. They have to keep a firstborn in this tomb, this demon. So I really liked the demon lore aspect because it made sense for the storyline, and I wasn't expecting the reason as to why they kidnapped Katie. And the demon was terrifying. The little girl voice mixed in with the demon voice. It was good. Now for the negatives. I'm going to continue with the demon lore stuff. I felt like the ritual scene was a little bit too long for my liking. The investigator shows Katie's parents towards the very end, the tape she has discovered after Katie was kidnapped, brought to the ritual for the mummy taking over her body, and I felt like that scene was a little bit too long. Now that's just me as a parent, not you as a parent, me as a parent nitpicking. I'm sure other people who are parents are really like, girl, who cares? But for me, because the little girl reminded me of my daughter, it was just so, I put myself in that situation. And I need to learn not to do that anymore. But it was just sad, and I had to look away. It was just so heartbreaking. That little girl sold that performance. And I don't like seeing kids, actors in that position, hearing them scream. It was just too much for me. And then the CGI at times was not the best. I don't know why in 2026 that the CGI looks worse. Sometimes, not all the time, looks worse than early 2000s CGI. Or like 2000s CGI. I can get past that though, but sometimes the dust was a little bit too dusty. The practical effects mixed in with the CGI I thought worked well. He has this certain tone shade of blood I could tell is true to him and his style, so I liked that. The score to me was not my favorite. I don't know if it was just my movie theater, but at times it just didn't mesh with the movie. I felt like it was overpowering. And again, that just could be the movie theater that I was in. And I would say the biggest negative is that this is not realistic or accurate. Katie was kidnapped in Cairo, which is not in the United States. And when she was found, she was not put in a hospital for a very long time. She was literally a mummy. What do you mean her parents could take her back home and take care of her? Looking like that, acting like that. Yes, her mom does work in healthcare, but so have I. So has a lot of people that I know. And to me, this just wouldn't fly. She would need more medical attention. It doesn't matter if the parents missed her. I think as a parent, if my daughter looked like that, we would be in the hospital. That's just my opinion. And yeah, more therapies for everybody involved. So to me, that was just my biggest flaw with this movie. Again, it's just a movie, but The way she looked, the way she acted, people should have had the parents realize that this isn't the best situation for their daughter. Staying at home with other children there, a wheelchair that you guys had a hard time taking up the stairs. You weren't prepared for this. No one would be prepared for this. But you need to take a step back and realize that this isn't the best situation for Katie. And the investigator, there was just one in Cairo. I feel like this is like a FBI, like a higher ranking police investigation to me. And then another little negative is that I felt like this movie was too long. It's over 2 hours, like 2 hours and 15 minutes. Now, that's just because I'm getting old. Maybe. I love going to the movie theaters, but I try to keep it to under 2 hours. But I will go for a movie that's over 2 hours. This movie, it felt like some things were dragged out. Some scenes were longer than that they should be. Some scenes were put in that didn't make sense. A lot of plot conveniences. But again, it's just a movie. If you loved this movie, 10 out of 10. I'm happy that this movie was over 2 hours for you. I'm going to go back to the big positive, is that this movie does have a happy ending. I was very happy with that. I hated this movie in a good way because in the beginning, I was like, how is this movie going to have a happy ending? I don't think it's going to have a happy ending, but it does. I was so nervous watching it because I'm like, how are they going to tie this together? They do. It kind of felt a little bit rushed, but they almost had me believing that it wasn't going to work out in the end. So in the end, the dad has the demon come into his body. That way Katie can live. And I was thinking that she was going to die right after that because there's no way her body would have been able to survive 8 years of this demon living in her body, transforming her body, literally ripping her skin apart, her fingernails, nasty black tar in your body. But she does live. And she's normal again. And the dad was living in their basement in a tomb. And I was like, okay, that's the saddest movie I've ever seen in my life. But the dad sacrificed himself for his daughter to live. And then the detective, who was badass, that next scene at the ending, she literally had a hole in her neck. And she's trying to do the ritual of switching the dad and the daughter. Sticks her finger. Oh, that was nasty. But it was good. Before she comes to Katie's parents' house, she shot the witch who kidnapped Katie. We thought she died, but she ended up living. And the ending scene is her in the hospital. And Mama Bear, Katie's mama, the detective and the dad, who is the mummy, get their revenge and was able to switch the demon from the dad into this witch's body. And that was perfect. I was so happy. I got chills just watching that, and I thought it was the perfect ending. However, this family will never be the same. Just truly a tragedy. It had me like this. As a parent, I was like crying. But overall, I thought it was a solid film. I really liked this take on the mummy. It was hard to watch at times because of me losing a daughter. And this little girl reminded me of my oldest daughter at times. It just added to the disturbanceness of the film. The film is gross. That's what it was intended for. The girls in this really shined. They terrified me. 2 hours for this film seemed like a lot to me, but it works for the film. At times, it looked and felt super not realistic, but again, I can overlook that for the movie. I enjoyed the movie even though I never want to see it again. I am happy for the revenge style ending. However, this family will never be the same. And it's just super sad. Not just a demonic film. I think this movie has a lot of layers to it if that's what you are looking for. If not, this is a disturbing, nasty film for you to enjoy. Is it like bloods and guts? No. It's more bodily fluids, demonic. To me, it was like if Amityville Horror was a person, mixed in with The Exorcist, mixed in with Evil Dead. That's what this movie is to me. That's what I was thinking about. It's like she's kind of like Reagan. And like if the Amityville was in one person's body, and it's like the family is trapped inside this house, but the house isn't demonic. The The Mummy. But yeah, it has a lot of layers to it if that's what you are looking for. You look at the family tragedy, the police investigation, the mummy, demonic, just a whole bunch of stuff to it. What would you do in that situation? Overall, I did like this movie, but I don't think I will watch it again because it was so sad to me. And bodily fluids was gross, the skin ripping off, but I did enjoy watching it. I'd probably give this movie a 7 out of 10. There was flaws to it. I can overlook it, but I did like this take on The Mummy. Let me know what you guys think. Did you see this movie? Did you like it? Was it not for you? Or do you prefer the Brendan Fraser's The Mummy, which will always be The Mummy in my heart. Alright, let me know what you guys think down below. As always, please stay safe out there, and I will see you guys soon. Bye-bye.